Hello, my name is Alexander Martinez, and today's topic is the recognition of Bitcoin as a legal currency. So, you've probably heard of Bitcoin at one point or another, whether it be on the news or social media and something like that, and you've probably thought about maybe investing into it. Well, today I'd like to go over a few things that may dissuade you on whether you want to do it or not. So, introduction. Currencies of trade have been facing the threat of advancement in technology, which has introduced new platforms that ensure that the exchange of goods and services has a new dimension. The introduction of new technologies has also enabled various models of transactions to change, thereby causing different economies to keep on changing the models of affecting transactions. According to a 2015 article titled Bitcoin, Property or Currency, written by Paul McCullum, Bitcoin is one example of emerging trends in the platform of transaction, which calls for reviewing methods of transactions in the bid to ensure that it is recognized as a legal mode of transaction. Discussing the emerging trend to whether to recognize Bitcoin as a legal tender for transactions is the objective of this article. Background of Bitcoin. Currently, the recognition of Bitcoin has faced many challenges that have been highlighted by various economies around the world. The inability of the tax systems of different countries to exercise control on the transactions that are aided by Bitcoin represents a challenge on the move to legalize the Bitcoin as a legal tender currency. In the same 2015 article, McComb essentially states that the need to debate about whether to recognize Bitcoin as a currency that is legal bidding for transaction purposes is important. The debate has two approaches. One side of the debate regards the appreciation for technologies as a means of introducing new platforms of transactions. Based on a 2019 article titled Bitcoin, the Future Investment by Manoy Thomas and Ashita Babu, the other facet regards the challenges that are posed by Bitcoin currencies, especially in controlling the transaction activities of the Bitcoin. To continue, these challenges cause many observers to be skeptical about legalizing Bitcoin as a form of currency that is legally binding. Thomas and P. also mentioned that currently in the US, Bitcoin has not yet been recognized as a legal currency, but has already been recognized as a property that is privately owned by the owner. It reserves all the rights that any other property is endowed to, thereby for the tax system in the US, Bitcoins are treated as property, thereby attracting all legal tax requirements that any property would attract. Other economies that have legalized the utilization of Bitcoin include Canada, Japan, and the UK, and the majority of the first world countries whose advancement technology allows for tracking of the Bitcoin's activity within the internet platform. Saeed Hussein wrote in his 2018 paper called Bitcoin, Future Transaction or Currency, Reasons for Adopting Bitcoin as a Legal Currency, Appreciation of Technology, and Helping Solve Problems and Making Living Easy is one reason that forms the basis of agreeing with the idea of legalizing Bitcoin as a currency. The need to utilize technology in making life easy and more secure is thereby welcome. Bitcoin represents a platform that is difficult to infiltrate and cause any cybercrime activity that would lead to loss of money. The Bitcoin platform presents a secure platform that ensures that owners of the Bitcoin have the express access to the accounts and wallets that house their Bitcoins. With this platform, it will be difficult for any third party to infiltrate the platform and orchestrate any transaction without the consent of the owner or of the coin. According to the Dynamic Properties of the Bitcoin and the U.S. market, written in 2017 by, I'm going to butcher this name, but Stavros Stavrianos and Vasilos Babalos, I think I got that right. The appreciation of the values of the Bitcoin is another factor that ought to be considered when assimilating the currency into being a legal currency that is recognized in the management of the currency for the legal tendering process. Just like any other currency that gains value based on prevailing market and economy, Bitcoin value has indicated to take the same trend of appreciating and depreciating, therefore making it possible for becoming a medium of exchange. Reasons for disregarding Bitcoin as a legal their platform are these: the inability to control the platform, which we've already spoken about via taxation and stuff like that, and countries not being able to regulate. So, but anyway, as we continue. In the 2018 economic letters, Bitcoin returns and transaction activity, Demetrios Kotmos writes, the Bitcoin currency is controlled by a website that is owned by a private individual. Chances of the website being able to crash and ensure that the accessibility of the Bitcoin platform is compromised is a major concern to leaders deliberating and assimilating the platform of the transaction into the corporate world. The possibility of ensuring the right measures of controlling the online platform for being owned by a private individual to the government pose the challenge of validating the currency as a state organ that has the regulations of the state. Control of the price strategy for a unit product of the Bitcoin is another factor to be considered before legalizing the currency as a platform of transacting. The inability of the currency is being presented in smaller units of the currency, which make it difficult to value products using the currency, which basically means that because of, I guess, the size of the amount of a Bitcoin, which could mean several $100s, and, for one Bitcoin, for those of you who are tracking that, it could, in order to break it down into anything different, that could pose as very challenging. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of countries are not interested. So essentially, the constraint posed by the currency is essential in causing different economies to shun the adoption of the currency as a model of orchestrating transactions. In any case, it is important to standardize the currency before it can be assimilated as a model of transacting, which is legally accepted in the US and many other countries that can ensure that they can monitor the platform. Lastly, the dependency of the currency to utilize the internet poses the challenge of being rendered discriminative by likely users who cannot access the internet. Failing to access the internet or have the requisite mediums that would facilitate the utilization of the currency as a medium of transaction makes it challenging for economies that have difficulty in the accessibility of internet due to the cost of ensuring that internet penetration is up to the requisite bandwidth and capacity to aid in enabling of the platform. These challenges ensure that different economies fail to assimilate the currency as a legal tender medium. So, in conclusion, Bitcoin is an emerging medium of exchange that has taken the world of commerce by storm. The uptake of Bitcoin has a medium exchange of various economies and has faced various challenges, which include privatization of the platform that controls the currency, making it difficult for government agencies to control the currency. Reliance on the internet is another challenge that has ensured that the currency fails to achieve recognition as a medium of exchange. However, the question of appreciating technology, which helped establish Bitcoin transaction, is essential. Lastly, the need to support innovation has been cited as a reason enough to warrant the assimilation of the platform as a means of transaction. So that concludes my speech on Bitcoin, and maybe you want to invest in it or maybe you don't, but that's all I have to say about that. Once again, my name is Alexander Martinez. Here are my notes. And I do have one person sitting here. Vondu, if you could come up here, please. And that's it.